So like nowadays, most of the things are controlled by software, right? So how many of your, for example, I think it's called rocket booster, right? Your main. Okay, first just tell me what are the components of actual. First of all, what is a launch vehicle? Because you use the
Okay.
term 3 4 times. We'll go from top to bottom. First of all, what is a launch vehicle?
So launch vehicle is basically rocket that we say. Okay, so launch vehicle is the vehicle that is having a payload on top and engines at the bottom. So payload is basically anything. Payload can be anything. Payload is your satellite. Payload is human spacecraft also. So anything it can go into payload, but the entire vehicle that takes that payload into space is called launch vehicle or rocket. So our launch vehicle, that is Agniban. Agniban is the name of our launch vehicle. It has 7 engines in its first stage, and then it has a second stage as well. So our first stage gets separated at some point in the trajectory, and then we have a second stage for our vehicle. That second stage is having 1 engine. So that second stage is the one that takes the payload to the required orbit. So that is a launch vehicle. Did that answer your question?
Okay, so basically, it's one vehicle that takes your payload to the designated orbit, right? So basically, whatever the images that I have seen and most of the people seen, so basically there is a center rocket, right? The payload is on top of it. There are 4 rockets around it, right? So I think those called
Those are boosters.
right?
Sorry.
So those are booster, right? The word for it.
Yes. Yeah.
What is the use of those booster rockets?
So boosters basically help your vehicle go into space. So I said, right, ours is a stage 1 and stage 2, 2 stages rocket. So what our stage 1 does is, stage 1 helps our vehicle to cover the distance, the atmospheric, the distance that we travel through the atmosphere, and then it separates, and then a stage 2 takes the payload. So basically, the stage 1 that we have is doing the work of the boosters here. So boosters will help you travel the initial distance, and then they'll fall out. And then your vehicle will itself take the payload to the space, to the orbit. So that is the work of boosters. It basically helps you cover the initial distance. So when the vehicle takes off, the initial distance is covered by the help of those boosters, and those boosters then fall out at some point, and then your vehicle goes forward in space.
Basically, what I
So,
understand. Continue.
so basically, the most rigorous time of for a launch vehicle is the time when it has to travel through atmosphere. So it has to overcome the atmospheric pressure, the resistance, the air resistance. So it has to overcome that and go to orbit. Once it reaches orbit, it's a little easier to travel because of no air resistance, so no drag. So to cover the initial distance is the difficult part, because it has to overcome the drag and the resistance part, and that is where these boosters help. And that is where.
So basically, what I learned from a blog, that basically in the blog itself it was written that the name itself says it's a booster rocket. So basically, what they said that your initial vehicle, it doesn't have enough fuel to exit the Earth's gravity. So you need some kind of boost to it. So you add extra rockets to it, and once their job is done, they are removed.
Correct.
That's what the actual job of booster rocket. So
that is exactly what it is.
So